Tyrone Adams, President and CEO of the Colorado Association of Realtors. Welcome on the Business Brief.
Thanks, Ryan, for having me today.
Good to have you, Tyrone. Tyrone, I know you're passionate about financial literacy, especially for younger generations and those to come. Why is it key to Colorado's future?
Well, I think that financial literacy education will play a pivotal role in the economic recovery of the future of Colorado and our country. There was a survey that I was reading from the National Endowment for Financial Education, and it had some astonishing facts that made me really think. And some of them are 9 in 10 Americans say the COVID-19 crisis is causing stress on their personal finances. Then it also talked about how 48% of Americans are worried about their ability to pay their bills. And then they also mentioned that over 50% of people are worried about not having enough money saved. And another critical piece of this is I found out that 70% of Americans have less than $1,000 in their savings account. So when you think about that, that's why financial education, financial literacy is so important, because it helps promote a critical skill set for not only for now, but also for our future.
100% believer in agreement with that, Tyrone. Now, you lead the largest trade association in Colorado with over 29,000 members, aiming to advance opportunities for property ownership for all Coloradans. Homeownership, as you say, and as we know, is important, very important part of our economy and plays a significant role in wealth creation for families. How exactly, in your view, does improving financial literacy for future generations improve their chances at homeownership?
Well, it goes back, Ryan, to knowledge is the key. I mean, we're in the midst of one of the most competitive housing markets in Colorado in our lifetimes. I mean, it's clear that the issues surrounding affordability and lack of financial literacy will continue to be those significant barriers to homeownership, especially for those marginalized residents and communities in our state. So you need to know, what do you need to have? What kind of credit score do you need to have in order to obtain a home? What is your debt to income ratio that you need to have? Let's talk about the maintenance of the home, all those type of things that are very important when you're looking to buy a home. And I think that another piece of another stat that I like to look at is one of the biggest issues that a lot of our consumers are facing is also the quality of life when they're looking at buying a home. It says 1 in every 7 households spend more than half their income on housing. If you do that, there's more to life than just living in your home. And so I think the quality of life is another big aspect that financial education will help provide those who are seeking homeownership.
Yeah, Tyrone, I'm so glad you touched on those things, because when affordability is ever more an important issue, since so many families are challenged to be able to afford a home these days, with prices continuing to go up and skyrocketing in many cases. And as you talked about in terms of the quality of life, I serve on a not-for-profit board for a group called Secors that works on suburban poverty, and where you have folks who live in these really nice houses on the outside. You drive by and you say to yourself, man, I'd love to live there. But on the inside, their kids aren't eating before they go to school. So in many cases, they found themselves in over their heads. And a part of that is, I think you mentioned, is a number of things that can affect a person's situation. But a part of that is your financial preparation and education, and being able to both manage your budget and understand what you can afford and what you can't. And so I really appreciate you touching on those things, because they are important to people's lives and ultimately to their quality of life, and our overall community quality of life as well. Now, Tyrone, you all have had some success with your Century of Opportunity legislation regarding financial literacy. Can you tell us more about that, and how will this help Coloradans?
Well, we're very proud, Ryan, and very excited about this past legislative session. Our government affairs team has done a fantastic job. CAR helped draft, advocate, and pass 4 bills that are focused on housing issues. Those bills were focused on creating and strengthening student financial literacy standards in a high school curriculum, a credit building pilot program that allows renters to have their rent payments reported to credit bureaus, an annual public report on affordable housing, and a program for new solutions in affordable housing development, which we know can be rather sticky when the profit margins are so small for home builders. When you talk about financial literacy education, that the first one that we talked about, that program is very near and dear to us because it gives these students, it's geared towards ninth through 12th grade students who we feel are going to be entering into the workforce or going to college real soon. And they need those tools and resources so that they have the knowledge, not only for current, when they move out, but also for the future. And it helps them understand credit. It helps them understand how much it costs to go to college and how they have to pay that back. It helps them understand also home ownership, what it takes to actually go into home ownership and then start building that generational wealth. It also helps them understand what it takes to actually obtain a real loan. So that way they're not, they don't have like predatory lending and all that stuff coming at them. So we're really excited about that program. It's important for them to understand that because we understand that the path to home ownership, the path to generating wealth is through home ownership.
Tyrone, and I wish the program the very, very best. As a guy myself who was raised by a single mom who worked 2, sometimes 3 jobs to raise 3 boys, and in a working poor neighborhood in the South, I wish there was more financial literacy and education to help people understand and better prepare themselves for the road ahead. So I really appreciate the work that your leadership, and the Colorado Association of Realtors and all of your members are putting in to improve the quality of life of Coloradans and to help them achieve home ownership. Tyrone Adams with the Colorado Association of Realtors, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Ryan.